Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about a worker placement / engine building game. We're going to be talking about Golem, and in this game you will be taking marbles from a tray, taking different actions, moving your golems up a few tracks that will hopefully earn you victory points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video I'm going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, be telling you what we do like, we don't like. Then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Golem is worth your time and bother today and in the future. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. We'll see you after this. Bollocks. So, Golem, how'd you play this game? So Golem is a worker placement style action selection Euro game, right? Each player's going to get a player board. You're going to have a load of little fiddly tiles to put on there, and you'll see that the player board is divided out into 3 different colours. You've got the blue study area, you've got the red Golem area, and then you've got the yellow artifacts area. All these tiles are upgrades, they're double-sided, and there'll be actions in the game where you can flip these over to give you nice little bonuses and maybe a few little victory point conversion type things, right? So the first thing that you're going to do in this game, not in the first turn because you don't need to do it, right? But you're going to do the refresh phase. In this phase, you'll be chucking all the marbles that are out onto the boards and player boards back into the synagogue, and you will refresh the rabbi action tiles on the main action board. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to do the Golem movement phase, right? If you've got golems out on one of the 3 main tracks, then you will look at your player board and it will tell you how many spaces you'll have to move your golems, right? You're going to have to use all of these movement points, and you can split them up as much as you like. If your golem gets to the end of the track, then you're going to have to pay a penalty to cross each of those thresholds, right? So it's very important that you don't let your golems get carried away like a dog with 2 dicks. So the next phase in this game is the actions phase. This is where you're going to be taking actions, you fucking moron. There's 2 types of actions in this game. You're going to have the marble action, and then you've got the rabbi action. In each of the 4 rounds you can take 2 marble actions, but you can only take 1 rabbi action. So if you decide to take a marble action, you'll take one of the marbles out of the tray and you'll stick it on one of the 2 golems' eye sockets. The colour of the marble dictates which of your students you can move, and you'll be able to move that student up 1 space, right? Depending on how many marbles are in the slot that you chose, this will determine the strength of the action that you can take. So for instance, if you took the work action, the strength of the marble will give you a knowledge discount when you put your golems to work, right? Because you're going to have to pay knowledge to do it. You can put 1, 2 or 3 golems to work and you'll have to pay 1, 3, 5 or 8 knowledge, right? Minus the discount that you got based on how many marbles are in the tray, yeah? And then what you do, you'll take the golem that's standing up, you'll lay it down, you'll take the action that is above it. So you might want to take 2 clay. You might want to move your student in the yellow district backwards 1 step to earn 3 victory points and take 1 gold piece. Or you might want to pay 2 knowledge to move your marker up the study track by 1 step. You can spend clay to upgrade one of your golem developments, and you can spend 3 clay to create a golem. You'll stick them on one of the 3 main districts, and if you've already got a golem there, you're going to have to pay an extra 3 clay, right? Because if you have kids, things get expensive. There are other actions in the game that let you kill a golem. When you do this, you'll remove them from the board and you'll put them in the graveyard and you'll take the bonus there, right? So sometimes it's a good idea to become a serial golem killer before they reach the beachy head area at the end of the district. So you might want to take the artifacts action, and this says you could take a number of coins equal to the action value, and then you can spend the coins to upgrade one of your artifact developments on the board. And after you've done that, you can also trade in 3 coins for 1 gold. If you choose to upgrade an artifact, you'll choose one of the tiles, you'll flip it on one side or the other, you'll place it in the relevant spot, and this will grant you more income in the income phase, and you'll also be able to get this bonus immediately after upgrading it, yeah? So you might want to take the study action, you'll take a number of knowledge equal to the action value, and then you can spend knowledge to upgrade one of your study developments. This is a piece of piss. You'll either turn over the large tile or you'll turn over one of the small tiles, right? You'll see that all of the developments, when they're upgraded, will give you these menaras, and at the end of the game there'll be certain victory point conditions that you'll multiply by the number of menaras you get to increase the amount of victory points you get, right? You'll also be able to buy 1 book from the library area. When you do this, you'll pay the cost on the card and the cost on the board in knowledge, and then you'll place it in one of your study areas, and you'll gain the lower benefit immediately, and you'll tuck it underneath your player board, right? You'll then get any of the upgrades and any of the top bonuses from all the cards placed there. there, right? You've got to remember that once you've placed a colour there, then that's the only colour that you can place in that row. So, for instance, you can't place a yellow in more than one space. There's also the mirror action. This allows you to mirror one of the other actions using the strength of that row. And if you don't want to do the marble action, you could do the rabbi action. You'll place your rabbi figure on the spot, and only one player can go here, right? So some of the rabbi actions are, you could take 3 clay to create a golem and move one golem backwards or forwards 1 step. Or you can move one of your golems up to 4 spaces forward, activate it, and this round you do not pay knowledge to control your golems. And this is huge, because once you have sorted out the turn order based on where your rabbis are, and you have influenced the characters by matching the marbles on your golems' eye sockets to the characters and getting their bonus, then you'll have to control your golems, right? For every space that your golem is ahead of the student, you'll have to pay a certain amount of knowledge, unless you get that bleeding rabbi action, yeah? And for every golem that you cannot fully control, you'll lose 5 victory points, right? So put a leash on that puppy, fuck's sake. Keep doing this for 4 rounds, and then you will do some final scoring. You'll multiply the number of golems you have built by the number of red menaras that you got. You'll multiply the number of artifacts that you have completed by the number of yellow menaras that you got. You multiply the number of book cards by the, yeah, you guessed it, the amount of blue menaras that you got. You get victory points for getting up to the top of the study track. You get victory points from your completed objective cards, and then you'll be able to trade in 1 victory point for 5 resources of any type. And once you've done all that bullshit, then the player with the most points will be the winner of Golem. What do we like about Golem? So the first thing that we like about this game is that there are loads and loads of paths to victory, right? It's almost as if each of the 3 coloured districts match up flawlessly with the 3 colours on both the player board and in the synagogue, right? So do you go apeshit with your students, moving them up the track to get the benefits that way? Do you get the more lucrative rewards by risking moving your golems up the track as far as they can and then killing them off just as they go over the edge of the cliff? Or maybe you want to spend some time upgrading a lot of your tiles on your player board, right? I suppose it does pay to do a lot of everything in this game, but as with most Euros, you're not going to be able to do everything that you bleeding well want, are you? So the second thing that we like about Golem is that the upgrade system not only gives you a load of point scoring opportunities, but also gives you loads of little boosts, right? One of our favourite upgrades is the marble upgrade in the artifact section. You can upgrade one of these, you can place a tile on one of the spaces, and this means that whenever you take a red or a blue marble, depending on what side of the tile you put it on, you're going to be able to activate that bonus every time you do it, right? So the fact that the point scoring and the bonuses are linked together is a nice tasty opportunity, right? So the third thing that we really like about Golem is that the turns come round really, really quickly for a game of this complexity. When I cracked this open, I was really overwhelmed with the amount of shit that was in the box, yeah? I was thinking, oh, here we go. It's going to be another one of them 4-hour, 5-hour Euro bore fests. But nothing could be further from the truth. You could be taking a marble out. Maybe you're going to be taking a bonus on the board, moving a couple of tokens or something, or flipping a tile over, and that is it. Every time we played this, it seems like the decisions on what you're going to do next have been made in good time, so no one's staring at the board thinking, shit, what am I going to do? Driving everyone up the fucking wall. So yeah, turns come around really quickly, and more importantly, turns go by really quickly. So what don't we like about Golem? So the first thing that we don't like about Golem is, at the end of the day, this is just a bunch of tracks. You've got the tracks on the district, you've got the study track, and I suppose if you think about it, the synagogue is just a bunch of tracks as well. It's just a load of marbles, isn't it? Bunched up in a track. So I know you can reduce every single game down to its lowest common denominator or mechanism, but do you really need to have like a potion explosion style marble track for this? I mean, thematically, it doesn't make any sense to me. I suppose you could argue that it's sort of like manna from heaven or something like that, but you could quite easily have chucked it all into a sodding bag, right? And it probably would have made the game a little bit cheaper than it actually is. So yeah, this game is a little bit gimmicky, but if it had been made any other way, then maybe it wouldn't have been so attractive, because I like gimmicks. So the second thing I don't like about Golem is that it is fucking hard work getting what you want. It seems like this game comes in peaks and troughs, right? I mean, when there's a trough, it's really literally a piss trough, yeah? You're going to feel like you are starving to death in a desert, and then out of the blue, suddenly all these resources come flooding in. You're overwhelmed, pissing yourself with joy, and then you basically spunk them all up the wall on a couple of shitty upgrades that you forget to use when the time is right, yeah? So yeah, it is a bit of a slog trying to get to where you want to go in this game, but when you do actually manage managed to open those floodgates, it is quite satisfying. So the next thing that we don't like, and I didn't really talk about this in a rules overview because it's fucking boring, and that is that passing is a little bit weird. When somebody passes, they take this little tiny tile and they take a marble out of the synagogue, stick it on there, and then once everyone's taken all their actions or everyone's passed, then they chuck all the marbles back into the thing. And you go through this big convoluted process of bullshit. And it begs the question as to why they didn't just have this as a fucking action, right? Why go through all of this palaver, having like 2 or 3 passing rounds that the rule book makes a pig's ear of, right? When I read it, I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? I ain't got a bleeding clue what you're going on about, mate. So I had to watch a couple of videos to get it into my head. And whilst it's relatively simple once you do decipher the Sanskrit, it just seems like a complete pointless waste of time, yeah. So the final thing that we don't like about Golem is that it sort of stinks of a lot of other Euro games, yeah. I mean, like the track-based system is a Terra Mystica style, Sulking the Mayan Calendar-esque affair, and obviously the marbles you could sort of trace back Potion Explosion. Maybe they had a few sets left over when people actually realised that the game sucked arse. So yeah, I mean, are we getting fed up with Euro games yet? Just a little bit. I think my interest in these things is starting to wane, yeah, because it seems like all the innovation has gone out the window and they're relying on these sort of gimmicks, yeah. But I am like a fucking limpet. I'm going to cling on for dear life, yeah, until somebody scrapes me off with a fucking chisel. So yeah, one of the downers is that it feels like you are treading over old ground, yeah, with all those other bloody Euros that you've got in your collection. So to summarise, is Golem worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we're going to say maybe, maybe not. Golem is a really strange beast. On the surface, it looks to have established its own identity, both with its theming and its marble-based action selection. But dig a little deeper and you find that it's just another soulless Euro. Not that that's a bad thing. We happen to ejaculate all over this dross from time to time. So for us, it's like finding that standout Adriana Chechik scene, but for others, it's just scat mixed with an unhealthy dollop of bestiality. So there you go. That is Golem. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. I'll see you next time, right?